So here's where we left off with Excel Module 2. Where we have entered the data. Remember how we did the flash fill here? I don't often use the flash fill, but that's kind of a nice feature to know about when you have lots of things to fill in. Remember what we had to do? We had to fill in 2, and then the data. Where's the flash fill? It wasn't, yeah, data, there it is. Data flash fill. Now we're going to let Excel do what it's powerful for. Its main power is doing formulas, calculations for you. Come over here, see all the pound signs here. That just means my column is a little too narrow. Remember how to adjust that column? I can double click on the border, either side, and it will auto fit that column. Gross tax. Well, it's going to be some number times probably my gross pay. So I better calculate my gross pay and then federal tax. Our gross pay, probably hours times hourly rate. But let's just check the book just to make sure I don't get the formula wrong. Seems rather obvious, yes. Well, you can always just redo it and see if it comes out correct. Make sure you spelled the names right, and you have commas where they're supposed to be. I think if it's not the same format, it may make a bad guess of what you meant to have in the flash format. We are going to be giving some totals down here as well. I might as well put those in before I forget. We're going to have a total row of some of the calculations we're going to do. And we're going to have the highest, lowest, and average of some of the column data. So let's just redo that flash fill just in case I got it wrong. I can come over here and clear those. Have 2 of them already filled. Select that box, flash fill, and see if it does it again. Remember how it does it on everything where it sees something in that first column, so we don't need anything there. And don't worry too much if it's not exactly the correct email, as long as you know the idea of the flash fill. Oh, look at that. And it also tried to guess what the email was now that it has the totals there. I'm going to delete those. Silly flash fill. If you do more advanced Excel, there's another way to do this with a formula that gets the first letter, searches for the comma, goes 2 letters over and gets the capital letter of and then the last name. Actually, no, it's this is the last name, so it gets everything up to the comma and then the first letter of the next name. But flash fill makes that a lot easier. Maybe when we get to formulas, we can get an idea of that. But we'll do some basic formulas first. I'm hoping that it's fairly obvious what the gross pay should be. They gave you the formulas on EX65, but gross pay is what I expected. It's hours worked times your pay rate. And notice we're not worrying about comma formatting yet. We can wait till later. So the formula here, remember how you start a formula with the old equal sign. That says, okay, Excel, you're going to have to do some work here. I could type D4 or just click on the D4 cell. And I know that it's going to be multiplied. That's the asterisk is our multiplying character because we don't use X. And then E4 by just clicking on it. Point and click to give me my formula. Now remember, don't click on any other cells or it'll mess up your formula. See how it's adding wherever I click to the second parameter and what's being multiplied? Be sure once you have the formula to hit enter or click on the little check mark. So now Excel will take that formula without any more changes. We're going to later on fill down. So let's just get it right for old Joanne Bennett here. Then we'll copy it down for everyone else. Now the federal tax formula is 0.22. They give us a number, 0.22. Remember, I have to start with equal. I could do 0.22 or just 0.22 times, and this is going to be the gross pay, which is calculated here, minus the dependents times a number they give us, 24.32. So gross pay, that's in F4, minus my number of dependents, I can click on that, times 24.32. If I don't remember to put that ending parentheses in, it will put it in for me. And then notice it shows that correction. It's adding that last parenthesis, and I hit yes. If I ever want to view that formula again, I can click on it, see it in the formula bar there, or double click to see it in a little larger characters. Let me enlarge the box, then I'll click on it again here. There's my formula. Now I could put the C4 times 24.32 in parentheses, but remember the priorities of mathematical expressions. We always do times and divide before any subtract or addition, if there are no parentheses around. That's just something they gave us out of the tax table. Preferably, this would be some kind of tax table somewhere where we keep track of that, but I guess they made it easy. We're just hard coding that right into our calculation. Same with the 0.22. That's just a number they gave us. Now, in real life, that number is going to be based on your gross pay because we do not have a flat tax. But for now, we'll just do a very simple calculation. There's a way to even have a lookup based on the gross pay, what my federal tax would be. So this is an estimate of tax, simplified formulas. All right, you ready with that one? And better make sure to put the parentheses in the right place. Without the parentheses, it would multiply this times F4 and then subtract. We want to make sure what happens with the parentheses gets calculated and then multiplied by 20.22. Comes up with some number. My state tax, I have a similar number. It's equal to 0.04 times my gross pay. There's Jersey! Woo! Great performance. So 0.04 times gross pay, which I can just click on here. And now that will be calculated as soon as I hit enter. Another number that they just give us out of the book based on the state. Now, depending on what state I'm in, that state tax formula is a lot more complicated. And there I have my numbers. Remember, if you ever want to see all your formulas, Control backtick upper left key, and it opens up showing all your formulas in every box. And Control backtick one more time, and it goes back to what the result of the calculation is. Now my tax percent is going to be the taxes added together divided by my gross pay. So add the two taxes together, put them in parentheses, divide by gross pay. So tax equals, in parentheses, the federal tax plus state tax in H4, right parenthesis, so I get that calculated completely, and then divide that total added together by my gross pay. And see, as I color them, the actual outline shows the color of my letters. Remember, hit enter before clicking anywhere else. After verifying, yes, that's the correct formula. Taxes added together, in parentheses, divided by my gross pay. And if I hit enter now, I see that as 0.25. We'll be coming back later and formatting that as a percentage, but we'll let the calculation stand as it is so far. We first get our numbers right, then we go back and we'll be adjusting how things are formatted. only one more formula left to do. Is what we get paid is our gross pay minus the two taxes added together. So our gross pay minus total tax. So another formula here, equal, there's my gross pay, subtract, now in parentheses, or I could just do a subtract one at a time, but I prefer showing that they're added together. If you don't want the parentheses, just get the mathematical equivalent. And there we have my net pay. My gross pay minus the sum of my two taxes in parentheses. Hitting enter now will then show the numbers. And I'll verify, does that make sense? Let's see. Works about 20 hours. That should be about 1,200. Yep. And the tax percentage of that, this strange calculation, about a fifth of that. A little less because we subtract for two dependents. Looks okay. Those numbers make sense? Yeah. Sure, I'm just going to double click on it to show the formula. It's my gross pay minus the two taxes added together, the state and federal. And always begin a formula with that equal sign, and Excel will obey you with doing the calculation. Now hitting enter, I'm happy that it worked out correctly for this particular employee. Now I can fill it in for the rest of them. But I verify my formulas and then select, grab the little fill handle dot right there in the lower right corner and fill her down. Now we've done the calculations for all the employees. Now one thing about this is if I ever discover there's a problem in my formula, like I had something wrong in that formula, remember what I have to do. If there's anything wrong, if I correct it, I need to then re-copy it down to the rest, and it will make sure that any change happens, gets updated. Sadly, it will not, if I update the formula here, it doesn't automatically update. These are copies of the formula. And notice here, that's referring to F4. Escape turns off any editing. Notice how it automatically, when I copy, updates that to the next row. That's called relative addressing as I copy my formulas. Alright, so I have my numbers, and let's see if they want us to do any more before we do some formatting. They talk about that order of operations. We've entered all our formulas. Then you're likely in edit mode. Hit the escape key to make sure that you're not editing one. Hit escape and then grab it. Remember, even if you just correct one, you can always make sure you're not in edit mode. You can always recopy one if you only change that one. Alright, let's take a look here. A little debugging. Yeah, when you get to Excel and these next modules, you don't want to just be, you want to be letting Excel do the work or everything will come out wrong. So you don't want to just type in the result of the formula. And remember, the control backtick will let you see what all the formulas are. I'll zoom out just a bit here. Oops. Control backtick, upper left, tilde, backtick, single quote. Just below the escape key. Control, that little squiggle key, will show you the formulas. Toggle show formulas. Hit it again and it goes back to the results. And this is something I check right away when I look at your work. I want to be sure you're doing formulas, not just typing in what the result is, because that is doing more work. You want to make Excel do the work. Now for the totals, I'm hoping you're kind of seeing that the total is going to be the adding up all the important numbers. Now, to the company, we don't care about keeping track of the total number of dependents of all our employees, but we will want to keep track of the total number of hours that they have worked. So we're going to put a summation in the total underneath a few of the cells. So we're going to put a total here. And I'm going to do it, rather than do a copy-paste, I'm going to do it one at a time, just to practice this. If I want this to be the total of everything above it, because I'm next to a number, when I click Auto Sum, it automatically sees those numbers next to him and finds all the numbers until it sees something that's not a number, and it just tries to guess at what you're totaling up. Now we're good so far. Those are the numbers I want to total up, so I can just hit Enter to confirm, yes, those are the numbers I want to add together. And see how the auto sum automatically put an equal sign there and the name of the formula to do my total or summation. I could have typed the word sum, but we're going to let Excel help us with that. Remember to hit Enter before you click anywhere else to then have that formula stick. For these, I do want these to be added up. I don't care about keeping a summation of my hourly pay rates, because that doesn't make sense. Those are rates, not totals. And we're going to calculate the auto sum of all those three columns as well. And a little shortcut here, I can select through all of them, and when I do auto sum, it figures out, oh, you must want me to calculate the sum of what's above me. If I double click that, I'll see, yeah, it did what I expected. So I don't have to stick only one cell at a time. I can click all three, say, hey, auto sum in theirs in those cells, and it does it for me. We don't care about tax percent auto sum, so we're skipping that. But we do want a net pay auto sum. Click there, and auto sum, done. And it doesn't hurt to check your numbers there. They should be coming out the same. If not, there may have been something. If you got the formulas right, then the only possible error could be over here in hours or dependents, if you're not coming up with the same numbers. Now we're going to do the highest and lowest, also known as max and min. Our friend max and min. Oh, and I see that the total tax percent. Oh, for the total tax percent, since we can get a tax percent based on the totals, I can handle the tax calculation down one. I don't want to copy it from left to right. I want it to be calculating based on the numbers in that row. So I can handle down tax percent, and now I'm seeing the tax percent based on these numbers. And to prove that it's based on those numbers, I can double click my formula and see that it's using those numbers for calculating my tax percent of all the totals. And what we see here is the only thing that's affecting my tax percent difference is the dependents reduce the percentage of tax. We see that with two dependents, 251, I guess, no, it doesn't quite come out. The one that has the lowest percent is this person. Oh yeah, we have three dependents. Their tax percent is a little lower. So we see that this is essentially the average tax percent of all our employees. Now, if the government required that from my company, that would be a formula, a cell that I would be using that value, filling out my tax forms. All right, now a couple more I'll zoom out just a bit here. A couple more calculations here. Just for our accountants, they want to see the max and min of the hours and some of the other numbers here and the pay. This time though, when I click, instead of AutoSum, there is a max. By default, it wants to get all the numbers above me, including that totals, so it's not giving me quite the correct max. I come back and select only through those numbers that I want the max of. I don't want the total included in the max. So I click max, but come back and select what goes in the range of the max is being calculated over. So make sure your max is only calculating it over from D4 to D12. Oh, I guess we do want the max dependents as well. Ready for that one? Once I have that formula, hitting enter then shows me the max. I do want the max of this one, so I'm going to again practice that. It's hidden under here. There is my max function hiding there. And see how it wants to select that one? Although that doesn't make a difference, let's just make sure we're only maxing over the valid dependent numbers. And hitting enter when I'm done. And let's see, we want the max. Which other ones do we want the max of here? Checking in the book. Looks like we want the highest of dependents. Oh, I guess they go down to the next one before going across. We're eventually going to get we'll be sending it across to the other cells. I guess we're going to be doing all of them once we get the max and min and average. All right, ready to do the min? come up here to the min function hiding underneath here. Min. Oh, I don't want sum. Somehow I clicked sum by accidentally. Try this again. Select there. Not auto sum. Min. And see how it only saw one number next to it? We want to tell it, no, I want these numbers to be calculated in my min. And hit enter. And average is also hidden up here in the automatic or frequently used functions. Average. And again, it tries to guess. It made a bad guess. Come back and tell it, no, those are the numbers I want to add up. So practice making those calculations. Select what function you want, and then select its range. Yes. All right. I'm going to control single quote here so you can see what function I have there, and then come over and help Cam. I want to make a big jump because that cell is so wide. Now we're ready to build an across. Since I see I jumped ahead to page EX77, and I see that they want those formulas basically all the way across, so I'm going to go back to seeing the numbers. I realize that since I've calculated it here, as I copy it now, I can just grab the fill handle for all three and copy it all the way over to net pay. And one thing they do say that for tax percent, this doesn't mean anything, so we can delete it because average tax percent is a meaningless number for them, so they delete that. But I fill handled over first, then I decided there's one spot where it doesn't mean anything to me. Delete tax percent average. And I think those are all the numbers. Let's see. Remember, anytime I click on a cell, I can see what's active. And now, an important concept is coming. Oh, not yet. We're going to change our theme before we start modifying our formats. So they want us to choose the Ion theme before I go any further from here. Remember how to get to your themes? That would be up here in your page layout. And in my page layout, I have the choice of themes up here, colors, fonts, and effects. We'll just go to themes, which is a combination of colors, fonts, and effects, and find the Ion theme. There's the Ion theme. And this one, unlike Word, actually shows the title right underneath it. You don't have to hover over it to see the title. I kind of like that effect. And essentially, the Ion theme is a combination of what Microsoft has deemed a good selections of fonts and colors. Alright, so we've got our theme selected, and then we'll start to now do the things we did before. We're going to merge and center that title. Remember how to do the merge and center, and you can do it. We'll do the merge and center, then we'll set the formatting to be title format. Let's make sure we can see everything, because we're going to merge and center all the way across to hire date. So select through. Remember our merge and center over here on the home tab. Right here. Merge and center. And let's go ahead and make that a lovely title style. And let's merge and center salary report. There's my merge and center. And make your font as big or large as you would like. I like to make it nice and visible. I'm going to increase that font size. Let's see if Control-Shift greater than works. No, Control-Shift greater than doesn't work. To change my font size, I can click the increase font size there. Or if I knew specifically the number, remember I could always either type it in or select from my numbers here. So make that as big as you want. And for salary report as well, make that nice visible font. Too many accountants make their numbers too small. And all you see is a jumble of numbers up on the screen when they're presenting, and you can never really tell what they mean. Oh, they're doing a few extra things in formatting here, applying a little bit of fill to a specific cell. And we're going to do it to both those top cells. So let's select through those now that are merged and center cells. Select through, and let's choose a color of a fill. Over here, they suggest a greenish fill. I'm going to let you decide on your fill color. And remember, you can even go to custom colors and choose from your little custom color bar. Don't make it too dark a color, because then you won't be able to read the font. So you get to choose any color there for your titles, and you won't see the actual color until you click off of it, so the gray of the selection goes away. So choose your own color, and you know what? I'm even going to let you decide if you want a cool font. Explore the fonts available to you, and I'm thinking an art person would not have a plain, boring font. I think an art place would have something fancier. So pick a fancier font that you think would go well for an art supply store. Of course, those accountants, they're generally more conservative, but we have an artsy account. So we've changed that, but we also want to have a nice border around these two cells as well. So let's select those two, and let's get a little experience here with the borders right here. I can choose my border, and I can make it a thick outside border. And I can also come back here and choose the line color of my border. So choose whatever border color you like. And also, I can choose the line thickness of that border in under line style. So lots of things hiding in here under my border selection. And if you want more details, I can go down here to more borders. And here I can have some more adjustment of my border. The color and the style. I don't see a thickness of my border choices, but I can mess with my border in the border details. Remember how I can get to those anytime I click on that lower right or the more borders, that takes me to my detail dialog. Know if there's ever a question of you need to format something, if you don't see the specific formatting in the icon here in the ribbon, you can always go to the detail dialog. Alright, so we've got some formatting of that. We want some styles applied to our column headings and to our totals. Remember our heading styles. Select through those cells. And up here under the styles, choose your, I think we chose heading 3. They decided we want heading 3 this time. And total cells style to this row right here. I'm going all the way out to column K, because that's as wide as my table is, and applying a total style. And we also want to make these numbers here in bold. Control B will toggle bold on or off. And since one was bold and one was not, toggling first made them non-bold, second toggle turned them bold. We have yet to format them nicely. That's coming up soon here. Before we format the numbers, they want us to format those dates in that far column. Then we'll come back and format the numbers. To format the dates, select through the cells. And up here under the date format, I can decide, clicking on the details of that, I can go down to date and choose more formats. And under date, choose the shorter format, 2-digit year, 2-digit month and days. And click OK. And now my higher dates come out a little more uniform, 2 digits each. Remember how that was done? The extra formatting dialog, and I can choose date in a specific style. Almost done with the formatting of these. I clicked, what did I click? I clicked date. I went to the details and I clicked date and the 2-digit. If I just choose date, let's see if it's close to the short date, but it's not quite. I wanted to go down to a more control over the date underneath more number format. If you just choose short date, it doesn't quite come out the way they want. I want not just short date, so I want the more number format date. This is a case where you can only find this by going to the dialog. It's not available in your standard choices. You have to go into the dialog box to find that specific format. I think we'll stop there, make sure everyone's caught up, and have a backup of it. We'll be finishing this up on Monday and getting it. We're a little bit ahead because you guys are just so excellent at this. Yes? Okay.